I would like to talk about the fundraiser. As most of you probably noticed, I did refund all of the donations, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who did participate. And I wanted to get into the explanation of why. After, I think it was 5 days of fundraising, I decided that I wanted to refund everybody. And I decided I don't want to crowdfund for a lawsuit where I am bringing the suit, that I'm not defending, that I'm attacking. There's a couple reasons why, and I want to talk about all the reasons. But first, I have to say, guys, I am very, very, very disappointed in the literacy rate. The number of people who read my tweets and somehow didn't understand what the tweet said was I'm in awe a little bit. I'm in awe a little bit. I want to read the statement. I want to go over everything starting from the statement. So please stop telling me, do I want to promote? I do not want to promote this tweet. How do I get this off the screen? Okay. On Wednesday, I think this was Wednesday night. No, Tuesday night. On Tuesday night, I made this tweet. Okay. I said 1 week, 1,692 donations, and $46,000 later, I am refunding the GoFundMe. If and when I go forward as a plaintiff, I will be self-funded. Thank you to everyone for proving Ethan wrong. His behavior is, in fact, unacceptable, and people do care. Proceeding with a defamation suit against Ethan is a monumental undertaking. His suit with Kavanaugh started almost 4 years ago and is still ongoing. I don't want to fundraise to start a fight that I can't finish, and I feel like I've let down those who have donated. With that in mind, if this is a journey I wish to undertake, I'll be doing it with my own funds. I'll be keeping all of you posted if anything happens while the statute of limitations runs for the next year, and I'll be elaborating on Stream Friday. I appreciate for all of you for your support. It means more than you know. Grok, explain this to me. Grok, what does this mean? What was misunderstood about that? We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there. I saw multiple people, even just responding to this, saying, so is she refunding it or not? It's in the first sentence. But I think for those people, it's very easy for me to be like, okay, those people, they want to be misinformed, so they're actively ignoring the text because they want to be misinformed. And then I saw a lot of people confused on what this meant. So I was like, okay. I will elaborate. I will elaborate a little bit more. I saw a lot of people being like, well, I don't understand. Why would you start this journey and then say you're not going to do it? Why are you saying if? I'm saying if because the 10 days haven't run out yet. He can still retract his statements. The correct term to use there is if. Because if he retracts his statements, which he still has 3 days, two or 3 days, I can't sue him because he's retracted the defamatory claims. So the if has to be there. Like, that's just how that works. I don't understand. Girl, he is not going to. Sure, but you can't say, I am going to do this, and then he retracts. You had a law firm hired for the letters and communications and assisting you, and now you refunded you. Did you pay for that with your own money? Yep. I did. Because that isn't part of the lawsuit. That was part of the, that was a letter sent to them. That wasn't a lawsuit. It all made sense to me. Okay. I mean, if you understood this text, I'm not talking like you're safe for now. You will be spared.
I never would have discovered your steam if not for Ethan screeching about hummus.
So I clarified a couple of things. If or when would have been better just because it would have kept the dumbs at bay. I got it, but I also want to help the dumbs. I mean, you say that, but I disagree. I think if it said if or, it wouldn't have changed people wanted me to only say when, but I can't say that because if he if he retracts the statement, I can't sue. Like, people who want to misinterpret it will misinterpret it no matter what. So I explained this. So a lot of people were saying, like, I'm so disappointed. Why aren't you going through with the legal fight? Why would you fundraise and then just not sue him? Did you not talk to your lawyer about this? I don't understand. So let me read this. Hopefully it explains it to some people. And for people who haven't seen it yet. Why issue a retraction letter and crowdfund if you weren't serious about your legal threat? I was and I am. If 48A applies, you must issue a retraction letter within 20 days of the defamatory statement before you can pursue a lawsuit. This is why Ethan was so prompt in his letter to Noah, but has yet to file a suit if he ever actually planned on doing so. 48A says that if you are considered a news publication broadcast, people cannot sue you for defamation unless you first issue or are issued a retraction letter within a reasonable time period. Now, there's a big if here because we're unsure if Ethan Klein's broadcast would be considered a news broadcast or whether it would be considered more of like evergreen type of content or what. But you'll note that I don't have it on hand, but you'll note that in Ethan Klein's letter to Noah Sampson, he cites 48A, which basically says, hey, if you publish this falsehood, if you want to sue someone publishing a falsehood, you must first demand a retraction. And if you do not demand a retraction, you can't sue them later. The purpose of the letter is to open the ability to sue this person for the next year or 2 years. That's the purpose. For people who are saying, why would you enter a legal fight if you couldn't finish? Why would you fundraise if you weren't planning on using the funds? Why would you do X, Y, or Z? The day that the letter was issued was the last day possible to even open the ability to sue. If I had not issued that letter, if this statute applies, which is a big if. I mean, again, Ethan cited it in his letter to Noah, but apparently it was not relevant in one of the appeals in Kavanaugh's case, so it's hard to say. It's a covering your grounds, not statute, but like it's an attempt to cover your grounds to make sure that the lawsuit doesn't get thrown out because you didn't initially issue the retraction demand in the timely amount. If is a key statement, yeah. Again, in Kavanaugh's case, this didn't seem like it was relevant, but Ethan did cite it. The TLDR here, if people are still confused, because it is possible that this statute applies, because it is possible, it means that I can't sue him when I want to on my timeline unless I first issue this retraction letter. I must issue this retraction letter in order to be able to sue him in the future. If I don't do that, I can't sue him in the future. If I wait like 6 months to prepare finances, to prepare that legal battle, and the courts say, oh, but you didn't issue this retraction demand in a timely fashion, so your lawsuit means nothing. Does that make sense? Also, I would like to address something really quickly. Let's just move forward in this a little bit. Was that the plan all along, or did you just learn that? In what universe would I cite something or have my lawyer cite something in a letter and not know what they were citing? And this is what I mean about literacy, guys. Why did she drop her suit? The text explicitly says, if and when I go forward, I will be self-funded. No suit was dropped. It's the second sentence. I don't understand. I don't understand how people are confused by this. Well, now, and the lawsuit is if/when. Yes, because he still has 3 more days to retract. Do I think it's likely that he'll retract? Of course not. But can you imagine the egg on my face if I say, when I go forward, I will be self-funded, and then just to fuck me over, he says, actually, I'm retracting. Yeah, you're right. You didn't call it. I think you're harassing me and you're on a mass harassment campaign against me, but no, I don't think you called it or anyone in your community called it. And then I don't proceed with the lawsuit, and then what does he do? See, you were never going to go through with the lawsuit, even though you just said when I will go forward. Like, this stuff isn't difficult, but it feels like people are willfully being stupid to not understand the text, even though it's written really plainly. And yeah, you're allowed to change your mind on how you pay for your legal costs through this process. Why are people being so dumb? I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand what was confusing about this. I think it's that like people wanted to assume that there was something wrong that was happening, so they went as bad faith as possible. That's the only thing I can assume. So to summarize what we've just talked about, 1, the if or when is just because he can choose to go on his show or on his channel and say, actually, fuck you, Denims. I'm going to put you in an awkward position where I'm going to retract, but I'm going to insist that you are still part of this harassment cabal against me. And therefore, the harassment against you is justified. Making it so that I look silly for saying I'm going to sue you when now I literally can't because you've retracted. That's the purpose of that. The purpose of that is that he still has the ability to retract. And so the correct verbiage is to say if, when. Second, there was no lawsuit that was dropped which is why this text literally says when I go forward, I will be self-funded. Well, why did you ask for funds initially if you can self-fund it? Because I can't, first of all, comfortably self-fund it. I would have to put aside resources in a separate legal fund over the course of months to be able to comfortably fund it, or longer. It just makes the process slower. That's it. Asking for financial support to stop one of the biggest bullies who has gotten me banned for 30 days, who has caused an adpocalypse on Twitch, making it so that hundreds of streamers have lost tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe other people would be financially invested in seeing someone like that actually be held accountable for any of the things that he says. And also, I could sue him sooner. Also, why wouldn't you? Even Ethan is crowdfunded for his legal cases. Like, the hypocrisy here from Ethan's fans is so absurd. One thing I'm really grateful, by the way, about is because of this entire debacle, so many arguments that like H3 fans have been using for years can't be used anymore. Like the whole, like every single argument that was used against Noah and Ethan's case against Noah now looks really silly. Now that we've seen the response that community has about other people bringing lawsuits. Next point. I'm going to write all of this down in a simple statement. I'm going to write down all of this stuff in a simple, even more simple. I will make it even more simple. Even less than I don't even know. This is like not even that long, but whatever. I changed my mind about crowdfunding because I realized I didn't like the money-grubbing narrative. Normally, this wouldn't be an issue because I could just be transparent with how the money was spent, but over the lengths of time that a lawsuit would span, it isn't realistic, and just doing my best isn't enough for an offensive lawsuit. And for the normal people in chat who are like, what? I don't understand. How would anyone consider this to be money-grubbing, huh? Allow me to show all of you. First of all, in multiple threads from multiple people, as well as multiple subreddits, almost every single comment that I saw from people who were either in the center or impartial or obviously very partial, the number of comments I saw that I think attempted to either scare people in this community or other people every single comment was literally, yeah, this is a scam, obviously pocketing, yup, obviously going to scam it, bet she pulls a Kevels, this, like thousands of comments of just this. Obviously, the whore on the internet is just going to steal your money, duh. Come on, don't be ridiculous. I mean, Ethan Klein said it on his show. He literally said she's only doing this so that she can pocket the money. And people who know lawsuits know that months can go by before the very first document even comes out of a lawsuit. So I would have to deal with these type of comments for literally months, and potentially after the fact. Even after filing documents, it would still be considered a scam. And if I filed the documents, but we didn't see any progress on them for years, that would still be considered a scam. One of the things that I really don't like about it is that I don't like the idea of people being scared that the money that they've donated is going towards a scam. And I don't like the idea that community members are worried that their money is going to a scam. And I feel uncomfortable about that. And because this is like a years-long process, I don't want to constantly have to deal with this during the entirety of this lawsuit. I just don't want to deal with that. I'm suing Denims for over-transparency, yeah. Are there actually community members that were worried? None that I saw, but my concern was that there would be, and I didn't want people to feel that way. That's smart, but you're going to get hate if you sue him. Isn't it safe to assume that you're not going to be suing him now? I'm going to get hate regardless of what I do. I could just be eating an ice cream cone and people will be mad. Like, if I don't sue him, people will be mad. If I sue him, people will be mad.
Denims is streaming.
If I crowdfund, people will get mad. If I don't crowdfund, people will get mad. People just want to be mad. That's it. I'm not going to build my worldview around what will get people the least mad. That's stupid. It has nothing to do with whether or not I'll sue him. Whether or not I'll sue him has to do with what my lawyers think. And let me just say, dude, I really wish I could show you guys the communications between me and my lawyer. I really wish I could. But unfortunately, if I post it, people will assume that it's fake, which people already do all the time. And then if I post his name, he'll just get like fucking doxxed and harassed. So I can't do that either. But oh my God, dude, if you guys could see these messages, I wish I could show them to you guys. Fuck, dude. What law firm did you go with? Was choosing one difficult? Again, I can't share the law firm because then that person is just going to get mass harassed and their email is going to be unusable. It's just going to be hundreds or thousands of emails that are going to be, it's just going to be unusable. So can you show us what the lawyer said after you deleted the evidence? Chatter, there was no deleted evidence. I'm sorry that you fell for the propaganda, the weakest propaganda in the world. There was a fan-run channel that I have no control over.
It's driving me crazy.
It's driving me crazy. There was a fan-run channel that I have no control over, and they took down their videos because they were getting mass harassed. And they've been a fan-run channel since the beginning of time. My personal channel only had videos from pre-2023. From 2023 and before then. I didn't even have any content from 2024 up there. Twitch automatically deletes the past the point of 60 days of VODs. I'm not the one deleting evidence. There's nothing I can do to change Twitch's policy. It's also like, it's so silly too. Like this idea is so ridiculous. The idea that I wouldn't just send all of these VODs immediately to my lawyer. The whole point of seeking legal counsel is to have someone who understands the law better than you do explain to you your rights. Explain to you the strengths of your case and the weaknesses of your case. The best thing to do in your interest is to send them everything, which is exactly what I did. Here is everything related to this case. And the lawyer decided it wasn't a good time to follow through, I'm guessing. Okay, so I've explained this already, but I will explain it again. I assume people were just too lazy to look up what this statute is, so I will pull it up on the screen. Maybe that will make things... I mean, like, I just figured people would Google things. Maybe I was wrong to assume that. Here. California Code, Section 48A on Division 1, Persons, Part 2, Personal Rights. In any action for damages for the publication of a libel in a daily or weekly news publication or of slander by radio broadcast, plaintiff shall only recover special damages unless a correction is demanded and is not published or broadcast as provided in this section. This notice and demand must be served within 20 days after knowledge of the publication or broadcast of the statements claimed to be libelous. You cannot pursue a lawsuit against someone when this specific statute applies, which is the big if there, unless you first issue this within 20 days. There is a potential 20-day timer on this. You must be timely in your demand to retract. If you are not timely in your demand to retract, you potentially close yourself off to the possibility of issuing a lawsuit. Is a 20 days reset every time he does a new libelous statement? Correct. I'm assuming Chatter Kai Mukas, you just didn't look this up, so you don't know that to cover all my bases, I was supposed to demand this retraction as quickly as possible. So that I think it's like, I think it said it was a year statute of limitations after you do this, which is a much comfier zone. Did you look this up, Chatter? Or I assume you just didn't know about this, but you knew he wouldn't retract, right? No, I didn't know that. I thought it was I thought the most likely situation was that he issues a retraction that's just barely good enough, but attempts to justify his harassment of me in other ways. I thought that that was very likely. And I still think it's pretty likely. I didn't ask you, what? You sound sexy when you say my name. Hard to hate on you. What? I just asked you a simple question. Did you not know about this? Okay, I don't understand. It's weird. All right, moving on. I will make I thought that this was like clear enough, but I guess this still wasn't clear enough. I don't know how. I feel like, again, this text is written so plainly. I don't understand how anyone was confused. One sec. I'm actually writing a little document so that I can pull this up every time. Denims, you act like people know how to read. Dude, I'm not going to lie, guys. I looked up literacy rates yesterday. And I want you guys to know it's bad. It's bad, guys. It's really bad. Why waste money on this to sue? This is also dumb and meaningless. I mean, I think Ethan Klein, someone who's gotten multiple streamers banned for a month and caused a mini adpocalypse on Twitch because of his reckless language, I think holding someone like that accountable is a good idea. I don't think it's meaningless. I don't know in what universe you think it's meaningless. Unless your lawyer is working entirely pro bono, then anything that lawyer says is fully billable, and they will say whatever it takes to convince you that a case is real. Do not think your lawyer is your friend. But that's why you can demand your lawyer show you statutes that show, or demand your lawyer send you cases that have won with the things that he's claiming will help you win your case. Also, your lawyer can get disbarred for convincing you you have a case when you don't have a case. If they're being dishonest to you in a way that is offensive or in a way that is immoral, they can get disbarred. Maybe your lawyer is just dumb. You don't think that that's the reason people seek out multiple lawyers from different firms? In a case like this, your lawyer will always encourage legal action for the sake of their best interests. Ask yourself, is an apology and retraction worth $250,000? No, if he doesn't retract, you can sue him for potentially tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. People aren't spending all of this money to get nothing in return. People are spending all this money to get a financial remedy. Damages don't necessarily have to be proven in court. Then what the fuck are we doing here? You want to sue because essentially bad man say mean thing on the internet? Come on. Are you okay, chatter? Do you think if I started accusing you of being a pedophile to all of your coworkers, your family, and your friends, but you didn't lose your job, but now nobody wanted to talk to you, and you became a social pariah? And I was like, well, you didn't lose your job, so you can't prove damage. You think that the legal system would be like, well, she's got a case there. You didn't lose your job, so it's actually fine for anyone to say that about you. No. Kavanaugh's lawyer won $8 million for a defamation case in October. You're just doing this for the sake of an apology. I feel like people so desperately want to convince themselves that something was misplayed here that they're like jumping through hoops to assume things that aren't real. It's very bizarre. It's very, very bizarre. I don't understand. Did he call you a pedophile? Did you lose your job? If we aren't proving how much you lost, then how are we getting to the next step on equitable reparations from Ethan Klein and co? Well, I mean, how about you just Google defamation per se? Because if you Googled it, you would realize that there is such a thing as reputational harm, and that accusing someone of a crime is defamation per se. Accusing someone of making a false CPS call or encouraging a false CPS call, a fraudulent CPS call, which is what I'm being accused of, is a crime, which is defamation per se, which only need prove reputational damage, which is evidenced by the hundreds or thousands of people that say you fraudulently convinced your audience to fraudulently make a CPS call. What's difficult to understand? He didn't respond. Okay, well, I'm sure he's typing a response. Anyways, moving on. I want to get through the rest of this document. Okay, what did I say here? Anyone that's disappointed needs to realize that they would have been waiting a very long time for any kind of emotional payout on this anyways, and that it's easier to take my time on this when I'm not being perpetually scrutinized as a scammer. To anyone that doesn't care about the money and just wants to see Ethan take L's, the Kavanaugh suit will end before any potential lawsuit of mine gets off the ground. Not to mention, if he does end up filing something against me, it feels strange to crowdfund for a defamation suit and for a defense at the same time, and mixing the funds feels even stranger. This is the cleanest way to move forward. If Ethan wants to pursue legal battles against Noah or against me or against anyone else, it makes more sense to have a defense suit fund instead of having both or having the two mix or anything else. This is what makes the most sense. I don't think ex-billionaire ultra-Zionist Kavanaugh winning is a W. I mean, I'm only saying that if you just want to see Ethan take L's, not if you want to see someone take W's. This is a pancake waffle situation. Oh, okay, you just changed your mind on how to fund it. Got it. That's more clear. I don't think you're going to be able to hold him accountable with this. That's like your opinion, man. So you're seeing Ethan has turned you into a social pariah? No, not quite. I'm saying that reputational damage is still reputational damage. I'm just describing the law. Like, that's just what the legal system shows. If you have a problem, you can take it up with the legal statutes for defamation, man. Like, I don't write those laws, man. Have fun proving that. Well, the fact that anyone comes in and says you fraudulently called CPS or your community fraudulently called CPS because of you proves that it's proven by the hundreds of thousands of comments that have been archived. It's actually not difficult to prove at all. Malice is hard to prove, but we have hundreds of clips at this point proving malice. So no, that's not hard to prove. Ethan literally has a button because he is a defamation machine. No. I think a lot of people have accidentally convinced themselves into thinking that there is no case or that I am not suing because they hallucinated me writing that, or don't understand defamation per se because they never read my original legal document, or basically just assuming that I haven't spent tens or hundreds of hours on this, speaking to multiple legal counsels and reviewing the statutes on this. I said it before and I got flamed for it, but like I stand by what I said, all right? Here, I'll make it non-woke. The problem with assuming that everything that someone does, or the problem with assuming that someone is dumb, this is why you should basically never do it. The problem with assuming that someone is dumb is that you also make bad decisions because of that. And you start making assumptions that don't make any sense. So if you already think, oh, she clearly didn't think this out, she's clearly an idiot, obviously, you then have to assume that I haven't spoken to a lawyer about all these things. You have to assume that I wouldn't send my lawyer every single VOD related to this. You have to assume that what I wrote isn't what I meant. You have to make all these crazy assumptions, and then you're wrong about it. But you're so down and like, you're so in the rabbit hole, in the rookie hole, that you don't realize where you are. Can you prove someone in your chat didn't call CPS and to follow that you were not the one that was defamed, who defamed in the first place? Hence, oh, what, I don't know what this sentence means because it was filled with errors. I don't. Yeah, well, you're clearly an idiot. Fuck you. Oh, God. To this chatter, I don't have to prove that someone in my chat didn't call CPS. He accused me of inciting my community to fraudulently call CPS. Fraudulently calling CPS is a crime. Who called CPS doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. What matters is whether or not they made a fraudulent call and whether or not I incited that fraudulent call, both of which are wrong. At the very least, we can confirm the second is wrong. Who called CPS doesn't matter. Whether or not CPS was called doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. These are not relevant to defamation per se. Does that explain that to you, chatter? You can't accuse people of committing crimes when they haven't committed the crime. Well, you can, but then you potentially face legal consequences. Oh, look, the chatter responded. Well, good luck with the privately funded suit. You've got your reasons, and I can't change that, nor do I want to. I just worry about the financials and the end result being worth the squeeze. What crime? Calling CPS isn't a crime? Fraudulently calling CPS is a crime. Knowing that there is no reason to call, knowing that there's no reason to call CPS on a family and then calling it anyways, that's a crime, which is what I'm accused of. This is not what defamation per se means, chatter. Didn't you spend like a few weeks making hate videos on Tectone? I don't make videos. Other people make videos and they upload them and they profit off of them. I don't make videos. I stream. Okay. Like his personal situation with his ex wasn't part of your life, but you wanted to change his reputation or life for views. No, maybe this is something that you haven't considered, but if it's not, and I don't mean this in a condescending way, your reason for doing something is important and your intentions matter. I didn't do that because I wanted to fuck over Tectone. I did that because I want to uplift voices of women who are sexually abused and or mistreated in the content realm. That's my reason for wanting to do that. And I've done this for countless other people. There have been so many people over the past 3-4 years of streaming that I have spoken to, that I know have had very traumatic experiences in this space, in the content space, and I've tried to uplift their voices because everybody else is too fucking terrified to ever stand up to some of the pieces of shit on this platform. The reason Tectone can't sue me is because he did that shit. He literally admitted on his stream that you went to the police. And here's the thing. If you are admitting that you are being investigated for sexual misconduct, other people are allowed to report on that. And it's not defamation. News organizations wouldn't exist if you couldn't do that. If I get on stream and say, this guy is literally getting investigated for sexual misconduct, for sexual abuse, that's not defamation. That's not what defamation is. Super strange you started this stuff against Ethan and then jumped off. Where did I jump off? Please show me the location that I jumped off of, please. Absolutely nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is that I will be self-funded, and if I am to take Ethan to court for defamation. Didn't you refund the money? Do you know refunding the money has nothing to do with pursuing the legal course of action? I say explicitly here, if and when I go forward as a plaintiff, I will be self-funded. I just hear a big if. Chat, I'm actually getting word. How, in what universe, genuinely, in what universe is Yeet, is the fucking Twitter Yeet account able to clarify this better than other people are able to? Why is this on my feed? Do you know how bad it is if you're dumber than this account that explicitly has a prerogative to make as much content as possible against me and Hassan and anyone else in this circle? Denim implies that she will be going through with the self-funded lawsuit against Ethan. She says,
contribution to your legal fund was mistakenly refunded. I'm doubling it here. Despite what the illiterati have convinced themselves, your case is clearly watertight. Take that human pants stain to the cleaners. Or buy something shiny, IDC.
Human pants stain. Also, Anon, thank you for the huge dono. What the fuck? Thank you for the 100 dono. That's really nice of you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dude, in what world is the Yeet account able to be less partial than the random shitters in chat? Denims implies that she will be going through with the self-funded lawsuit against Ethan. She said she included the if I sue him language because Ethan technically does have 10 days to retract. As of today, Ethan has 3 days to issue a retraction. If not, Denims will be taking him to court. Like, I don't understand how.
And it's driving me crazy.
One thing I will say, I wanted to talk about GoFundMe. This is actually like the scummiest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life, by the way. The next bit of thing I want to talk about. Because a lot of people were wondering why I would make this announcement not on stream. And the reason is because GoFundMe has a bizarre TOS. Can I just say really quickly also, by the way, holy fuck. I did not know that refunding the money would force GoFundMe to send me one individual email for every donation. I got 1,700 emails. And I was getting notifications on my phone. I'm like, one donation has been refunded for $10. One donation has been refunded for, I was like, well, how many more? And I literally, they were blowing up my phone. I had to turn on fucking do not disturb mode, something I never turn on my fucking phone ever. And I was like, I am in awe. I have like literally, wait, I think I have an image of it. Tell me why GoFundMe sent me 1,700 emails. What's the issue with the money that people sent you? If it's 100% certain you will continue the lawsuit and he doesn't take back his words, why can't people donate to you? Because of the sheer number of people accusing me of trying to steal money from people, trying to accuse me of being a scammer, trying to accuse me of taking money from people in the community. And besides, I mean, like, it's so absurd because I've taken so few sponsors. I've like had to fucking turn down the HelloFresh sponsor that everybody else fucking takes because they fucking union bust. And it's like, hey, are you sure you don't want free money? Come on, all you got to do is put it on your stream and you get free money. And I'm like, no, I can't take this. They fucking union bust. Like, I know, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, but it feels wrong to fucking shill for a company that is actively union busting. Do you ever talk about anything else? Yeah, I do. If you stick around for a little bit, you can see some of the stuff that I talk about. I talk about how pretty certain women are like you. But if you stick around for a little, you might be able to see some of the other content. We have a lot of other stuff to talk about. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, and I didn't appreciate that. I didn't appreciate people assuming that it would be a scam. And I know how long these lawsuits take. And I don't want to see comments for the next year calling me a scammer. I'm not interested in that. It's a little different when you're defending yourself in a legal case against somebody else, because then you can fundraise immediately when a letter is issued to you, and you can show people exactly what you're fundraising for, and the clarity and the transparency is way more easy than you being the party to sue, because there's a lot of time that will go into finding a lawyer that I respect, talking to multiple different legal counsels to find someone that I think has the best chance of winning, seeing if there's any way to deduct costs here or here or here, seeing if there are other ways to find financial backers, seeing if there are things that might strengthen my case. Like that will take like months to even start to build that case, to even issue the first document, which would mean that I would have to receive those comments. And it'd be like, I really don't appreciate those comments towards people in the community either. Like that's gross. So I don't want to deal with that. So that's why I didn't do it. Can we do a little GoFundMe expose? Can we please do a little GoFundMe expose? Guys, holy shit. GoFundMe is so unbelievably fucking scummy. When I put up my GoFundMe, they sent me a letter within 2-3 days or something like that, where they said, "Hi, my name is blank from GoFundMe's Trust and Safety team. I see in your fundraiser you mentioned that the donations will be refunded if the original purpose or initial purpose of the fundraiser changes. Since you've raised a significant amount of funds, instead of offering a refund if the purpose of the funds changes, are you able to consider finding an alternate use for the donations? We'd love to see the donations go to good use if possible." In similar situations, we've seen organizers repurpose donations for something that is still in the spirit of the fundraiser, e.g. related expenses, donation to charity, general support. If there's another use of the donations, let me know and I can help you update donor and offer refunds to anyone who wants them with the change in use of funds. At this time, your outgoing withdrawals are held until we receive clarity. And I responded to this with like, no, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with repurposing the funds after the fact. People didn't donate for that. They donated for the purpose that I said that they would donate for. No, I'm not comfortable with that. I genuinely, I'm in awe. Like, again, I'm censoring all the names because I know the fucking communities that exist out there, the H3 fans that exist right now, and which is mostly Sex Pestiny fans that have repurposed their cause, will harass the shit out of this employee. And I understand that they're just trying to follow the fucking employee protocol, but like, holy shit. And I told them, I was like, fucking no. What the hell? No. And I get that they're a company and their goal is to make money and they take a cut from the donations. That's how the platform stays up. But like, what the fuck? And so I told them no. And they said, and this was like the big drama or whatever. This is why I ended up deciding, fuck this shit. I'm refunding everything. Fuck this shit. I'm refunding everything. I'm not dealing with this. I refuse. I refuse to deal with this. Let me pull this up. All right. So then I responded to this email and I told them, no, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with repurposing the funds. I'd rather close the GoFundMe and then open a new one. I want people to donate to the thing that they agreed to donate to. And then they said, "Hi, we can still help you refund your account at a later date if you do not want to continue the fundraiser. However, you cannot state that this is something you will absolutely plan to do on your fundraiser story if you do not meet a specific goal. By stating you have an alternate place that these funds may go gives you and donors an option later so you can either move forward with a plan that still utilizes your donations in a positive way. Please let me know once you've removed that from your fundraiser story or if you want to change that to go to an alternate use instead." I talked to them some more to ask them, where is this policy? And the policy basically says, like, you're not allowed to put anything in your bio or like in a fundraiser that goes against the interests of GoFundMe. Which, like, saying you're going to fundraise and you might refund is against the interests of GoFundMe. So you can't put it in there, which is like fucking insane, like actually crazy. So I was like, okay. I'm not repurposing the funds. If you guys are going to close down the fundraiser, if I don't change the text, fine, I will change the text. Because functionally, the text is the same. Like, these two sentences mean the same thing. I'll pull it up. Which, like, H3 fans were, like, going feral. They were going ballistic at this change. The fundraiser used to say, if he doesn't retract, this GoFundMe is for legal fees to hold him responsible for his lies. If he retracts, the GoFundMe will be refunded. And I changed it so that it doesn't have that. But functionally, again, these two sentences mean the same thing. If he doesn't retract, this money is for the GoFundMe. If he retracts, this GoFundMe will be refunded. First of all, he didn't retract. He still has time to retract. We'll see. But second, I changed it. And then I said, and I also linked it. I don't know why this doesn't show it. I linked this email that I got saying that I can't have that in there. So I'm like, okay. And people started being like, oh, see, she's not going to refund it. She has no interest in refunding. It's scam. And I was like, no. I am not dealing with this. Under no circumstances am I dealing with this. So I immediately send them an email. I'm like, okay, you can just refund everything. If this is the policy you guys have and You're expecting me to bite this bullet and make my community look bad and all these other things. Just refund it. And I'm not joking. They sent 3 emails trying to convince me not to refund it after I put in a request to refund it. This is the worst one. Hi, I see you've requested a refund to refund all, but I just wanted to share some options here. Have you considered finding an alternate use for the donations? You've done an incredible job getting support from your community, and we'd love to see the donations go to a good use if possible. In similar situations, we've seen organizers repurpose donations for something that's still in the spirit of the fundraiser, e.g. related expenses, donation to charity, general support. If there is another use for the donations, let me know and I can help you update donors and offer refunds to anyone who wants them. If you'd prefer to move forward with refunds, please note this process cannot be reversed and all donors will receive their money back in 3 to 7 days. Just to confirm, is this the fundraiser you'd like us to refund? Which I'm sure if you guys pull up the fundraiser right now, you'll see that the fundraiser cannot be found. You guys should have received all of the donations. At the very least, I got 1,700 emails. I cannot believe they sent me 1,700 emails, by the way.
17 months DNML.
I can't believe each one of these was an individual fucking email. Oh my God, by the way, what the fuck? Just send me one and say we've refunded everyone. Why would you send me 1,700? Legal paper trail? Yeah, then just send me a CSV that shows that you've refunded everyone. Like, I don't need 1,700 email. I just want to say, it doesn't say it anywhere in the GoFundMe rules that you can't write, I will refund. It just says, and what they linked me to was, you can't put something in GoFundMe, in like a GoFundMe bio that goes against GoFundMe's interests. Are there personal details in those 1,700 emails? No. It just shows what the person who put whatever you put down in your information is what it shows me. So the person who donated $10 under the name Shredder the dog or something. And then they captioned it, please, no more cheese, it burns. I saw that comment again. And then I saw, has been refunded $10. So I don't see the personal information. At the very least, I didn't notice any. If they send it, I didn't notice it. I just wanted to say, fucking crazy, by the way. Like, actually, some of the scummiest behavior I've ever seen, ever, on GoFundMe. Actually, some of the scummiest. I cannot believe that they requested that I change or repurpose the funds multiple times after I told them no. Don't hate you, but think your behavior is pathetic. Do hope you're better in the future. Bro, you've been following me for 12 minutes. I'm sorry that you've only read the opinions of other people and decided it's your opinion. Have you considered forming your own opinion? Just got here, can you summarize why you couldn't just put that clause in the description? I did put that clause in the description, and I said, hey, I want you guys to know that I have to follow this. And I linked the email, which, again, in what universe is the Yeet account able to understand this better than other people? Like, very disappointed in a lot of leftists who claim to love reading essays and weren't able to read one essay. I did say this, I did mention this, and I even linked the email. And guess what? People said the email is fake. She's going to steal the money. And I was like, okay, like literally fuck off. I'm not dealing with this. Sorry, I meant to say why they didn't allow you. Oh, again, they linked me to a clause that just says you're not allowed to do things against the interest of GoFundMe. There isn't even a special clause that says you can't write
Have you
refunds.
tried repurposing the donations and just suing someone else? I heard there is a stupid sexy man out there, GoFundMe Chad.
Yeah. They're treating it like a sales pitch of some sort. Like, I censored the name of the employee because I don't want them to get harassed because I'm sure they're just like, their job is just to tell people, hey, are you sure you don't want to put it somewhere else? You sure? She took the bait, LOL. Is this the new thing that people say? Is this like the new, like, I was joking. Is that what this is? I'm not owned. I swear I'm not owned. Turns into a corn cob. Anyways, anyone who's curious about why the refund was refunded, why the GoFundMe was refunded, I have a tweet on my Twitter that explains it all in depth right here. Wait, I just got here. Did you talk to a lawyer about your case before announcing the GoFundMe? I spoke to multiple lawyers, which is how I got that document in the first place. The retraction letter I sent, it had my lawyer's letterhead on the top that was censored so he doesn't get harassed. A lawyer wrote that document, and I spoke to multiple lawyers for that. What are you going to do with the Ethan Klein lied domain? I don't know. Maybe I'll just make it like a poop compilation or something. Who knows? I'm going to have this on screen anytime people come in. There's a few other things that are missing from this, but we'll get to that in a sec. Bold of you to assume anyone coming in to shitpost at you is capable of reading. Yeah, you're right. You're fucking right. I just didn't, guys, just so you guys know, I wrote this and I was like, this should be pretty clear. And then I saw people still didn't understand. So I was like, okay, I'll write something a little bit longer that explains it. And I rewrote this multiple times to like make it as layman as possible. And I was like, okay, that's it. I think this makes sense. I think this is this should be very easy to understand. And yet somehow they were asking Gronk. I've now read the tweet and caught up. Honestly, base move I think what you did was right, Denim. Thanks. To be clear, let me just be sympathetic for a second. I understand why people were concerned, and I understand the people that feel like they were disappointed and are like, but why wouldn't you think this through? Why would you pursue this and then back off? And it's like, one, I haven't backed off. I'm just self-funding. Two, I had to issue that retraction demand within 20 days. I can't wait 6 months to collect the funds to be able to pursue a lawsuit, but I didn't issue the retraction letter. And God forbid, 48A does apply, and the judge is like, sorry, you should have sent in that letter in the first 20 days. You can't actually sue him now. It's all very simple. Ethan had trouble understanding why he got an unredacted letter. I don't expect his audience to understand this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Can you change ethankleinlied.com just to be this instead? Let me get my best men on the job. This was from November 6, 2024. I doubt I'll be talking about Hassan. I'll be talking more about Hassan. I said everything I wanted to, only if it's topical / newsworthy. Done, chatter. Done.
Thank you, Ethan Klein.
It will be done.
My best friend. You